welcome you to North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, where it is unseasonably cool, only 55 degrees, and we have a very strong southeasterly wind, but we have partly sunny skies and a 20% chance of rain. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins, along with Dr. Jerry Punch, and welcome to the Lowe's 150 for NASCAR Modifieds. We've been doing this race for several years. It's a race that has in the past had a lot of excitement and great competition. Now, tomorrow the Winston Cup cars will be here on this same racetrack. They qualified at about 115. The NASCAR Modifieds have qualified at 124 miles an hour.
Well, 9 miles an hour faster than the Winston Cup cars here. And these guys aren't really accustomed to running those speeds. They run on the 3/8 mile, the quarter-mile tracks at about 100 miles per hour. This is the fastest track they race on all year long. 124 miles an hour should be exciting for us and them this afternoon.
Dr. Dick Berggren is one of 2 pit reporters working for us this afternoon. Here's Dick in the pits.
Well, Bob, nobody wants to win this race today any more than Doug Hevron. He has been a Winston Cup competitor, a good one at that, but he's out of it now. He says he's close to a Winston Cup deal for 1988, however, and he wants to run especially well here today. Why? All the Winston Cup teams are here. The crew chiefs, the car owners are going to watch this race. So Hevron has brought a very strong weapon with him, a modified owned by his father. It's got a very strong engine in it. He's put this automobile on the pole. He's intended on winning. He's brought with him a very special crew chief, Billy Colton. Colton is the shop foreman at Troyer Engineering, which not only builds more modifieds than anybody else for pavement, they built this modified. But to win, he is going to have smart pit road strategy. Working with me on pit road today is Gary Lee. Gary, what is the smart strategy?
Well, Dick, right now, most drivers and teams are taking a wait-and-see attitude. They'll let the race dictate the pit strategy. These cars, as they sit right now, have enough fuel to go the distance, 22 gallons. The question is tire wear. Now, here could be the scenario. Midway through the race, a yellow. Does the team stop, lose the position on the racetrack, take on fresh rubber, making for a faster car, and then start at the back of the pack to chase down the lead pack? Or in the lead pack with the leader, second or third place, wait to see what the competition will do before they make a move. We'll just have to wait and see, as you will. Bob?
All right, thank you, gentlemen. And 24 cars and drivers are lined up on pit road, and we'll have the starting lineup for you in just a moment. The Lowe's 150 NASCAR Modified race from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, and we have 26 cars and drivers. They're starting 2 alternates here this afternoon, so 26 are set to go. And here now is the starting lineup for this afternoon's race. On the pole position will be Doug Hevron from Liverpool, New York, qualifying at 124.316. He drives car number 1. Outside of the front row will be Jan Lady from Williamson, New York, qualifying car number 25. In row number 2, it'll be car number 69, Junior Miller. Outside of that row, Jay Hedgecock in number 41. Starting in row number 3, Ralph Brinkley in car number 9 and Frank Fleming in number 40. The 4th row consists of number 46, Billy Middleton, and 75, Robert Jeffries. Going in row number 5 will be Bobby Lofton in car number 23 and the 45 of Johnny Bryant. Row 6, it's Satch Worley in car 07 and Randy Morrison in number 19. In the 7th row, Philip Smith in number 71 and Gary Myers in car number 4. Bobby Hutchins in number 15 and Johnny Johnson in 99 make up row number 8. Then going to row number 9, it's Don Smith in number 31 and Al Hill in 70. The 10th row, Thomas Needham in car number 6 and Roger Hill in 00. In row number 11, it's Melvin Swisher in 53 and Tim Twiggins in 17. The 12th row, Johnny Hemrick in 11 and Lanny Wilkins in number 7. And in the 13th row, the 2 alternates, car number 95, Buddy Black, and number 63, Bubba Beck. And you can see that the cars are still on pit road. And Jerry, I would imagine this is because it's just so extremely cool here and windy that the cars are being given a little extra time to make sure that the engines are warm before they go out there.
I'm sure with the chill factor and the wind, it's got to be probably 40, 42 or 3 degrees on pit road. The wind is really gusting here. It's a beautiful day here in the Brushy Mountains, as we said before. And, you know, a couple of Northern Modified guys came here to run with the Southern folks. The guys that normally run at Bowman Gray Stadium on the quarter mile there, who'd like to come to Wilkesboro and run. But today they're against some of the best. Doug Hevron and Jan Leedy, 2 of the fellows who run primarily on the Northern Modified Tour. And Leedy, who's been very successful here in the past. He's only been here twice, and both times he's won.
So he certainly has to rank as one of the favorites going into this afternoon's race. And he starts outside of that front row in car number 25. Hevron in car number 1. Both of those gentlemen from the northeastern portion of the United States in the New York area. And We have heard that several of these guys come down here to run this race simply because they get national exposure on ESPN. And, of course, we're glad to televise their race for them. There's the front row. The number 1 of Hevron on the inside and Leedy in number 25 on the outside. They're warming up the tires now on one of a couple of pace laps that they'll have before getting the green flag. 150 laps of racing. This is a .625 mile racetrack, so they're running actually 93.75 miles an hour. This will be a 150 lap race, or an hour and 10 minutes, whichever comes first.
We saw some gas sloshing out of the back of some of the cars, particularly Doug Hevron's car. The tanks are 22-gallon fuel cells. The registered fuel cell used on the Winston Cup cars and the Busch Grand National cars, the same cell used here in the Modifieds. They're filled to the brim, and some fuel comes out the overflow as they bob and weave their way back and forth going down the backstretch, getting ready for the start.
Down the backstretch here, you can see some of the liquid flowing from that number 1 as he goes down the backstretch. These are, generally speaking, Cavalier automobiles. A few Pontiacs and Buicks and even Fords, but for the most part, Cavaliers are the basis for which these cars are made. And a field comes off of turn number 4 now. And one more lap, they will get the green flag and will be set to go. Harold Kinder in the starting stand, as he is for all the Winston Cup events. They'll be starting and flagging the field off this afternoon.
You know, Bob, we mentioned many of these guys come down here. The northern drivers, like Doug Hevron, come down for the national exposure, but Hevron is hoping to get in a Winston Cup car. His name has surfaced in some of the top Winston Cup rides. In fact, the one he really wants to get into is the Jenny Dunleavy car that Kenny Schrader is driving, and he is certainly one of the top 3 candidates for that car. Hevron has some people pushing him toward that car. He can drive a car. He's got 32 Winston Cup starts under his belt. He would like to run the full season in '88.
Should be an exciting race coming up here. The Winston Cup cars, as we mentioned, will be here tomorrow for the Holly Farms 400. We'll have that race for you live here on ESPN at 1 o'clock. But today, settle back for about the next hour or so for NASCAR Modified racing. We're glad you could join us. The pace car has pulled off the pit area, into the pit area, and here comes the field, led slowly down by Doug Hevron. And now the green flag flies, and we are racing. A rather slow start. Hevron paced everything just right, stood on the gas at the very last moment, and he has taken the lead down the backstretch. But look at Jan Leedy looking to the inside, going into turn number 3, but Hevron will be the leader of lap number 1. Here they come. That's Junior Miller in car number 69, the 3rd car in line, as they're nose to tail down the backstretch. Once again, Leedy looking inside now. Junior Miller looks to the outside of Leedy, can't find the opportunity to pass. They fall into single file formation once again. Running in that 4th position is Jay Hedgecock in car number 41. Then Frank Fleming is 5th in car number 40. Hevron sets the pace as Leedy and Miller look from behind.
We have one car spinning, Bob. That's the car number 7 of Lanny Wilkins out of Jonesville, North Carolina. The Wilkins Enterprises Pontiac is spun, and we will have a yellow flag.
The first yellow flag of the afternoon comes out. Lanny Wilkins is in the backstretch trying to get headed in the right direction as the field comes around under the yellow flag. So Wilkins catching up with the rest of the field now, and the number 53 car of Melvin Swisher has come in for a pit stop. One car was black flagged. I'm not sure whether it was him or not, but in any case, he was in momentarily. And yes, he was black flagged and has rejoined the field. However, he was black flagged for jumping the start.
Boy, Melvin Swisher, what a year, what a career he has had for 25 years driving a modified car. He's 48 years old, runs locally here in the short tracks around Bowman Gray. Doesn't really venture far up north or down south to some of the bigger modified races, but he just enjoys it. His nickname is Puddin', and I asked him this morning, why do they call you Puddin'? He said, I have no idea.
Well, that's being honest. The number 7 car of Wilkins at Spun also visits pit road, but he also rejoins the race. We'll be back with more of the Lowe's 150. And just as you rejoin us, the green flag comes out once again after a spin on the backstretch by Lanny Wilkins. The green back out, however. Doug Hebron continues to set the pace in the red #1 car. There he is flashing down the backstretch. And behind him is Jan Leedy in car number 25. By about just car length or so, Leedy has been putting pressure on Hebron ever since the drop of the green flag, staying right with him, but it's very difficult to pass when the cars are equally matched as they appear to be.
Leedy trying to move on the outside. You know, he's 27 years old from Williamson, New York, and he came here for one reason, he said, and that's because ESPN was here. He said, we've run out of money. They couldn't run the Northern Tour anymore. They were hoping to come down and possibly get a sponsor, get someone to see how well they run and see possibly what they can do here. Let's go to Gary Lee down on pit road.
Well, Philip Smith in car 71 has been flagged. The NASCAR officials are watching these drivers very carefully on the starts and the restarts. Another case of jumping the start, so it's actually a stop-and-go penalty for car 71, and Smith is underway.
So we've had 2 of those just in the first 8 laps of this race, as the 53 car Melvin Swisher also was black flagged for jumping the start. Here's a car pulling off the track. That is one of the alternates, number 63, Bubba Beck from Lexington, North Carolina, who has pulled off the racetrack in the backstretch. This will not bring out a yellow because the car is well off of the racetrack. In fact, is on an entrance road to the pit area.
And a lot of smoke from Gary Myers' car, the car number 4. Myers from Walnut Cove, North Carolina, brings his Chevrolet Cavalier to pit road as they battle again up front.
It's still Jan Leedy in number 25, the red and white car, battling with the leader, Doug Hebron. Now, Hebron was not the fastest qualifier. He qualified yesterday at 124.316, but there were some drivers who did not qualify yesterday and qualified today. Satch Worley in car 07 was the fastest qualifier at 124.7, and Randy Morrison was at 124.309. Those two started 11th and 12th, so we'll be watching for their progress through the field, possibly move up and challenge the 2 that are running up front right now. Let's go to Nick Berggren.
Well, Gary Myers was just in the pits, and here's the reason why. That's the belt that was on his power steering unit. He's just taken off. He's on the speedway. He's got no power steering pump, and that means that car is going to be a real bear to drive for the rest of the afternoon.
All right, we'll watch for that also. No power steering, and he's still smoking quite badly. Gary Myers in the white number 4 car down the backstretch, but certainly not at as fast as the others are.
Gary, one of the hot shoes at Bowman Gray this year. He had 5 wins down there. He was 3rd here a couple of weeks ago in a modified race. He likes this track, but he's certainly having his troubles today.
Meanwhile, the leader, Doug Hebron, is approaching some slower traffic already. In turn number 1, passing some back markers. The yellow number 71 car of Philip Smith is right ahead of Doug Hebron. Off of turn number 4, and Hebron will choose not to try to pass Smith at this time. As back in the pack, we have some action going on.
That's a race for 3rd. Junior Miller and Jay Hitchcock back there, along with Frank Fleming. Fleming is the black car with the yellow numerals, car number 40. Hitchcock's in the middle. He's the 41, trying to move inside of Junior Miller. And one car just the rear of that pack, just coming into the picture, the 07. That is Satch Worley. Now, Worley, who was the fastest qualifier, Bob, he qualified here on round 2, has made his way all the way from 11th starting spot up to 7th. That's the battle 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Those 4 cars, 5 cars all together.
And they're running nose to tail out there. I think maybe we saw some bumping there for a moment as it appeared Frank Fleming bumped the 41 car of Jay Hitchcock as they went down the backstretch. So while that race continues in turn number 3, now we see him going to the inside once again, and Hitchcock is pulling alongside of Junior Miller, and he takes the position. A nice move on the inside. So Jay Hitchcock in car number 41 moves into 3rd. It is Miller back to 4th, then comes Fleming, then Johnny Bryant, and the number 07 car of Satch Worley moving up.
Hitchcock really pulling away a little bit. You know, he has a car building business up in High Point, North Carolina. There's Jay Hitchcock in the white and blue numeral car number 41. That is a Pontiac J2000. Now, he will be building some of the Winston Cup cars next year for Richard Petty.
Once again, let's go to Dick Berggren on pit road.
Yeah, talking about Jay Hedgecock, guys, he has finished only 3 races all year long, even though he does this sort of thing full time. Fortunately, one of those races was last week, and he won. So Hedgecock is high hopes for this afternoon.
And Jay Hedgecock is the builder of Richard Petty's Winston Cup car that Richard is driving this weekend and will be driving in the Holly Farms 400 tomorrow. There he is, Jay Hedgecock, car number 41. He has moved into 3rd position and now beginning to leave the others that are battling for 5th in his wake. Once again, we see Doug Heverin and Jan Leedy as they have put some distance now between themselves and the 3rd place car. Basically a 2-car race here for the lead between Gary Leedy, or rather Jan Leedy and Doug Heverin. And let's go to the pits and Gary Lee.
We're down here in Jan Leedy's pit, and it's a very simplistic pit area. They have exactly what they need if they make a pit stop. They have the spare tires. They have an air vinyl over there. We have the air impact wrenches, a jack here. They don't anticipate right now making a stop. However, the strategy is very simple. They're going to keep an eye on the guy right in front of them, Doug Heverin. They say, if we can't pass Doug, we may have to stop later for some new rubber late in the race. However, it may be a wait and see. If Doug stops, they'll stop. If Doug doesn't stop, they may stay out there.
So pit strategy will be played out later. Meanwhile, it's just basic, solid racing on the track. Leedy once again trying to go inside of Doug Heverin going into turn number 3, unable to do so. And now Jay Hedgecock has caught Heverin and Leedy, as Hedgecock is the man on the move at this time.
You got to speculate possibly Hedgecock may have guessed correctly on the tire setup. You know, yesterday for qualifying, these cars ran, and it was about 75 degrees here. It is at least 20 degrees cooler today, and they have a wide variety of tires they can use. They can use a hard compound, a soft compound. They can go Goodyears, they can go Hoosiers, but they have a number of different kind of tires they can pick from. Some guys picked softer compounds. Possibly Hedgecock was one of those, and they're showing up right now.
We have completed 31 laps of this 150-lap modified race at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway. There are the top: Bob Jenkins, Jerry Punch, Dick Berggren, and Gary Lee back at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway on a Saturday afternoon where it's extremely cool, temperature only in the mid-50s and about a 25-mile-an-hour wind, but some great racing and a bump there by Jay Hedgecock on Jan Leedy as they were trying to battle for that 2nd position. There are the first 3 cars. It's Heverin in number 1. Right behind him, Leedy in 2nd, and then Jay Hedgecock, who has come on strong here in the last few laps. Hedgecock started 4th, is currently in 3rd position. So far, it's been a Doug Heverin race. He has led every lap to this point, and we've only had 1 caution flag displayed as the number 11 car of John Hemrick has pulled off of the racetrack and into the infield area. He's from Tobaccoville, North Carolina.
You know, Bob, we talked about pit strategy, and Doug Heverin has only run here once in the past. He was leading like this, pretty well dominating the race, and he blistered a left rear tire. That was some concern this week. He said, you know, we're always awfully hard on our left rear tire. We don't know why. Jan Leedy says, you know, it's my right front tire that goes away with me, because he tightens the car so much in the corner, it pushes coming out of the corners, and he will turn the wheel, and the right front tire will simply come apart. But Heverin concerned with the left rear. Fuel is no problem. Now, at least with the 390 carburetor, they can go maybe 175 or 180 laps without any concern at all. Of course, this race only 150 laps. There's a car on pit road. Robert Jeffries blows a tire, and they come in with the crew going to work on those tires. What's the say of North Carolina driver Robert Jeffries?
He's driving the Honda Winston-Salem Phoenix Packaging Lowe's Cavalier, and work being done on that car as they're changing the left front wheel. And if you pretty much make a pit stop in this race under the green flag, you're going to lose some valuable time. Once again, the race is for 2nd position. Heverin has the lead by about 8 or 10 car lengths, but this battle for 2nd place is a good one. Leedy and Jay Hedgecock in number 41. The average speed at the end of 40 laps, they're averaging 108.043, and that was with a caution flag that lasted for 4 laps. That gives you an idea of the speed that these modifieds are achieving on this racetrack. It's really a racetrack that is ideal for this type of race car and this kind of race. There are your top three. Meanwhile, back in 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, we have some great competition going on and some bumping, as a matter of fact. Now, the number 69 car of Miller and a couple of guys got together. Frank Fleming almost losing it.
Johnny Bryant tapped him, and Fleming straightens back up. Bryant gets on the brakes, and that's a break for Satch Worley. He dove beneath him, and Satch Worley moves up into 5th spot.
So while positions are changing, they basically remain the same for the top three. It is Hebron, Leedy, and Hedgecock back at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Back at North Wilkesboro, and we have had a change of leader. Jay Hedgecock has gone into the lead, Hebron second, and Leedy is running third. Now, the exchange of positions occurred in some lap traffic, and Jay Hedgecock just took advantage of what happened in front of him, and he went into the lead. Here he is, Jerry.
Well, Jay Hedgecock just behind Leedy and Hebron. Now, Hebron slowed because of the slower cars running door to door in front of him. Hedgecock takes a break to the outside. Now they get crunched in there. It's Don Smith, the bronze car, and he sort of tags Hebron. Hedgecock gets a little bit sideways. Again, tries to gather it back in. He gets slippery up high, but Hedgecock takes the lead.
And he went into that corner 4 abreast. Hedgecock came out with the advantage, and he is the new leader of the Lowe's 150. The pass occurred on lap number 41, make that lap number 51, and now he is in the lead and lapping some of the slower traffic. And so if he can keep that car out of some major congestion ahead of him, he will have a smooth sailing here this afternoon.
Hedgecock ran here 2 weeks ago. They had a triple header here at North Wilkesboro Speedway for the modifieds and the late model stock cars and the street stocks. He finished 4th in that event to Frank Fleming, but they have been working on the cars. Again, he has a chassis building business, and he will be building the 88 Pontiacs for the STP team of Richard Petty next year.
Let's go to Gary Lee on pit road, who has an observation. Gary?
I've often said the safest place to be at a racetrack is in the cockpit of a race car, and I think that's really underscored here at North Wilkes, because we're here in the pit area and there is no inside pit wall. You can see the cars going down the straightaway. There is a pit wall dividing the pit area from the straightaway, but here on the inside, the Winston Cup cars back their haulers up. Here are the Winston Cup cars back here. Here is the pit area, the hot pit area we're utilizing for the modifieds today. We don't expect any wholesale pit stops for the modifieds. Tomorrow there, this will be a traffic jam. And again, it is never wise to turn your back on a race car, but that's almost impossible to do when you're working on a car in the pits. This could be a very, very dangerous place to be tomorrow. You know, in racing, one way we communicate is with the use of flags. And here this afternoon, we may see the use of a flag I've never seen before.
Well, Gary Lee, I've never seen this flag either. This is a yellow flag. It's got a red X in it, and this is the flag that the NASCAR officials are going to use if pit road is blocked. Now, they come into pit road here off the 4th corner, very hot, very fast. There isn't much room here. It's very easy for this pit road to be blocked. This is a special flag for a special safety situation. Bob?
So there's a flag that I don't think any of us are familiar with. We hope that it doesn't have to be used and the pit area doesn't become congested, but when it does occur, that flag will be displayed by the drivers. Junior Miller and Frank Fleming, along with Satch Worley, are still going at it out there. And the number 45 car, the blue car, is Johnny Bryant.
That's a 5-car battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Of course, Junior Miller, one of the regulars, and he gets a little bit of an assist from Frank Fleming. Fleming, who's only his 3rd year in modified competition, runs this track awfully well. Now, Fleming won that modified race we spoke about a little bit ago that ran here 2 weeks ago. He has an awfully good car, and his car is noted for getting strong toward the end of the race. Now, we are just before the halfway mark, about 10 laps prior to halfway, 65 laps complete, Bob, and Fleming now starting to show a little bit of muscle.
He moves to the inside on the straightaway. They go into turn number 1, wheel to wheel, side by side. Fleming gets a little sideways, but saves it, but he does not pick up the position as Junior Miller holds him off. That's Fleming and number 40 running right behind him. Then Satch Worley, Johnny Bryant, and the other car involved in this 5-car tussle is Ralph Brinkley. Gary?
yesterday to talk to Frank Fleming about the strategy of running the race with or without a pit stop, and he said very succinctly, if I'm leading this race, I'm not stopping, because I know 2 weeks ago my tires went the distance. I was running as fast at the end as I was at the beginning. However, he hedged just a bit. He said if I'm in second or third, I could stop late in the race under a yellow flag condition. But right now, he has a ways to go to be in the first three.
And you know, one thing that I'm very surprised at this point is the absence of yellow flags. We have seen only one, and that was for a very minor spin. But we have a crash here on the main straightaway as I speak. Not a real serious crash, but a couple of cars into the wall. And one of those involved is the number 4 car of Gary Myers, but he keeps it running. He is smoking down in corner number 1. However, we're not even going to have a yellow flag, but it was a close call coming off of corner number 4.
Like Gary Myers may have had a tire go down, and he just sort of bounced off the wall. There's Gary Myers' car. You look at that right front tire, it's completely flat. And we might mention these Goodyear tires that are used on the Modifieds are very similar to the Can-Am or USAC tires used on the open wheel cars. They are very thin. They don't need to be very thick and heavy like a Winston Cup tire because the cars don't weigh that much. So therefore, awfully thin tires can be cut very easily. That's what happened to Gary Myers.
All right, let's run down the survey as we have it, the standings as we have them. Hedgecock is the leader. Second is Doug Hevron. Third is Jan Lady in car number 25. In fourth position is the 69 of Junior Miller, followed by Frank Fleming, then Satch Worley, Johnny Bryant. Then comes number 46, driven by Billy Middleton, and ninth is the number 19 car of Randy Morrison. Those cars on the lead lap. Let's go to Dick.
Well, Gary Myers is simply sitting here in the pit area. He talked to his crew for a little while. They're looking over all sorts of things. The power steering, the right front. Not much going on here in the way of frantic activity. Count Myers out for any chance whatsoever today.
So the wheel still being changed on that car. He sits hopelessly in the pit area as Miller leads Frank Fleming and Satch Worley and Johnny Bryant off the corner. This is definitely the best race on the track at the moment, as Hedgecock now has about a half or even a full second lead over Hevron and Jan Lady.
This would have to be Junior Miller's best run ever here at Wilkesboro. His best finish here has been a 5th in the past. He has 2 wins in '87, one coming at Concord Speedway, and one at the half-mile Caraway Speedway. He's been a modified racer for 10 years, but he has yet to win the big one here at Wilkesboro. He would like to do it today.
And we have reached the halfway mark. 75 laps have been completed in the Lowe's 150. We'll be back right after this with more NASCAR North Carolina, and in nearby Clemens, North Carolina, live the second round coverage coming up right after our race here at North Wilkesboro, the Senior PGA Tour, the Vantage Championship. That'll be live here on ESPN right after our coverage of the Lowe's 150. And the situation is Jay Hedgecock has stretched out his advantage over Doug Hevron by over 3.5 seconds. So Hedgecock is pulling away from the rest of the field. Jan Lady continues to run in third. Junior Miller is fourth, and Frank Fleming is fifth. There you can see the battle for fourth position. That is Fleming in car number 40 and Junior Miller in car number 69. They continue to go at it. Satch Worley works the high side in 07. But falls back into single file formation as they come down the straightaway. Now Satch Worley once again tries the high side of Frank Fleming. Cannot make the pass. That's Johnny Bryant in car number 45 trailing all of this. Great 4-car battle here for position. And look at Frank Fleming go to the inside as the cars maneuvered around a slower machine, but no positions changed.
Satch Worley, the winningest driver in Wilkesboro history as far as modified competition is concerned. He's won here 8 times. He was mired back in the pack. He qualified on the second day. They were a little under horsepower, he told me. They're running a 355 cubic inch engine, and the way they determine the weight on these cars is pounds per cubic inch. They have to weigh a minimum of 2,610 pounds. And therefore, his engine's actually a little small for some of the modifieds. You should be running a 364 or possibly even a little bit bigger. He doesn't quite have the horsepower he'd like to have to run today. But he says, once the track gets a little bit slippery, I should make my way toward the front.
Well, we did have him change position as Satch Worley passed Frank Fleming, and now Johnny Bryant and Frank Fleming are having a race out of it. Once again, Satch Worley has moved into the 5th position. position. He was the fastest qualifier of anyone in this race. However, he started back in 11th position. The fastest 10 qualifiers yesterday were locked in to the first 10 starting positions. And we might remind you once again that tomorrow here at North Wilkesboro, beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, we'll have live coverage of the Holly Farms 400, the final short track race of the season on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit, and it should be a dandy. You'll remember the very exciting, although somewhat perhaps controversial finish at Martinsville last weekend when Dale Earnhardt, Terry Labonte, and Darrell Waltrip were going at it for the win. Waltrip managed to get by Terry Labonte and Earnhardt, who both got out of shape, and Waltrip went on to take the checkered flag. But there are some feelings here this weekend that perhaps it's payback time tomorrow. And because this is the final short track race of the year, it should be an unbelievably great race. We hope you'll join us at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Let's go down to Dick Berggren.
And I'm with Billy Colton. He's crew chief for Doug Hevron. Now, Billy Hedgecock is leaving you guys. Will you pit if there's a yellow flag?
Yeah, we're planning on pitting the next yellow for a pair of rear tires. Hopefully it'll be pretty soon here.
Will you adjust the car with those tires? Will you make it run more loose, or will you make it run more tight?
From what we see right here, it's hard to see the car in the corners. But the way we see it, we got to tighten the car up, and we are planning on tightening it up with Sager. But I'll wait and talk with Doug over the yellow and see what he feels.
Well, all up and down pit road, we're hearing the same kind of thing. Gary Lee, what do you hear?
Well, we can certainly underscore that down here from Jan Leedy's pit, because Jan is in radio contact with his crew. He is saying now he is backing off ever so slightly to conserve the tires, but they too expect to make a pit stop under the yellow. So we can see a number of stops by the leaders under a yellow flag situation.
Bob, we're talking about adjustments to the car. You know, in Winston Cup competition, they have the screw jacks in the rear of the car. You can raise or increase or decrease the weight. It's not the case for the modified cars. Now they have some screws to adjust the shock absorbers, but they don't have a screw jack to adjust weight. You have to do that with stagger. Stagger has been the important handling part of these cars for 25 years. In fact, 15 years ago, the Grand National drivers used to laugh at the modified guys when they'd jack a car up and measure the tire. They'd laugh at them and say, what are you doing that for? Well, now stagger is very important in Winston Cup as well.
Jay Hedgecock in car number 41 leads the Lowe's 150 by about 3.5 seconds over Doug Hevron, Jan Leedy. And there is the battle for that 4th position. It is Junior Miller in the number 69 and Satch Worley in 07. Worley looks to the outside going into turn number 1 using the higher groove, but Miller pulling away for the time being. Frank Fleming is right behind Satch Worley. So we'll be back with more of our live coverage on this cool Saturday afternoon in North Carolina of the Lowe's 150 from North. More than 100,000 people in town for that, in addition to the big Winston Cup race at North Wilkesboro Speedway, located about 10 miles outside of the city. So a lot going on here in the Brushy Mountains of North Carolina. This afternoon, we are providing coverage of the Lowe's 150, and on October the 8th at 7:30 Eastern Time, we'll have the premiere of the National Hockey League season here on ESPN as the Montreal Canadiens take on the Philadelphia Flyers. It is subject to blackout. 7:30 Eastern Time, October the 8th, live here on ESPN. So the leader continues to be Jay Hedgecock as we watch this race for position in the middle of the pack. Frank Fleming in car number 40. That is a lap car following Fleming, the number 23 machine driven by Bobby Lofton, who has been in the pit area for several laps. But there is the number 40 car of Frank Fleming, who is currently in that 6th position.
I mentioned that Jay Hedgecock said he was trying something a little bit different as far as the chassis setup on his car here for the modified race. Hedgecock says he thinks he may have applied the same principle to Richard Petty's car that he'll run tomorrow in the Holly Farms 400. In fact, the car Petty is driving tomorrow is the car that Joe Ruttman wrecked for Richard in driving for Richard earlier in the year at Pocono, and Jay Hedgecock took the car back and rebuilt the rear section. It's a radically different chassis. And I tell you, if Richard Petty's watching Jay Hedgecock now and says, boy, this guy knows something about Wilkesboro, even though I've won here 15 times, maybe, just maybe, it'll help tomorrow. Now, Petty didn't qualify that well, but neither did Hedgecock at the beginning of this race.
Well, Bill Elliott will be the pole sitter for tomorrow's Holly Farms 400. Darrell Waltrip, last week's winner at Martinsville, will be on the outside of the front row. The other top 10 qualifiers. Benny Parsons starts third. Terry Labonte will be fourth. Alan Kulwicki fifth. Ken Schrader, the sixth fastest qualifier yesterday. Then Mike Waltrip starts seventh. Bobby Allison is eighth. We have a spin over in turn number 3. That's the number 23 machine of Bobby Lofton, as the others scramble to miss him. Our second caution flag of the afternoon comes out on lap number 109.
And that'll be a break that they wanted in the Doug Hevron pits. We'll see if Hevron will make a stop on pit road, and possibly Jan Leedy will come in. Who can catch Hedgecock? They're going to have to come in and maybe change tires.
Well, this should see some real excitement here in the pit area. The top runners are staying out there for the moment. Junior Miller comes around, so does Satch Worley. There's the leader, Jay Hedgecock, staying out there, coming down the straightaway, crossing the stripe, and putting lap number 110 into the books. There you can see some pit activity.
That's Ralph Brinkley in the black car, the car number 9, and Bobby Lofton is behind him. Brinkley had a flat right rear tire, as did Lofton, so they're getting a lot of pit work. There's the Bobby Lofton crew in that orange, yellow, and blue numeral car number 23. Lofton from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in a Cavalier, Chevrolet Cavalier.
And a demonstration there of how tight the pits are here, as Lofton had to put it in reverse and back up to get out of the pits, as he had pitted in back of Ralph Brinkley. There is Leedy in the number 25 car, and he is coming in for a pit stop, but Jay Hedgecock stays out there. So let's go to Gary Lee for a call of this stop.
As we alluded earlier, they want to tighten the race car up. He says the car is loose. They will change the stagger on the car, put in at least one dump can. That would be 11 gallons of fuel. So this is what we talked about earlier. The race would dictate pit strategy. And right behind Leedy is Frank Fleming. He is stopped as well. So these drivers were waiting for this opportunity to come in. Now we won't see the speed that we would see perhaps in a Winston Cup car race or a kart race or an IMSA race. But once again, they're under yellow. They don't have to be quite as fast. They have changed the stagger. They have changed the rubber. They have changed the complete handling on car number 25. Let's see now what Leedy can do from the back of the pack.
They continue to work on Frank Fleming's car. They're working on the right rear tire, trying to get it secured, and apparently having some trouble doing so. Now the work is completed, and Frank Fleming rolls back out onto the racetrack. Satch Worley also came in for a pit stop, but the two that are running up front, namely Hedgecock and Doug Hevron, did not come in for some. Now Hevron is in. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Yeah, there seemed to have been some kind of miscue. Either that or Hevron decided on his own that he wasn't going to pit. Billy Colton went out with the pit board. The crew tells me the radio is fine. Hevron's at a major disadvantage now. The hot runners have already been in. They have already pitted. He is just now taking on his tires. Notice how they're changing rear tires on Hevron's car. That's to get the stagger exactly right. We see in Winston Cup competition, they usually change right side or left side. They're doing it differently here. Hevron's got the same compound he's had all day. He's on his way back on the speedway right now.
So now can Doug Hevron, Frank Fleming, and Satch Worley and others who came in for a pit stop move up through the field here in the last 40 laps of this race and make a race out of it. Jay Hedgecock did not come in for a stop. He continues to be the first car behind the pace car.
And here's Satch Worley peeling down pit road. He'll get the 1 to go signal. That'll be green next time by. Jan Leedy is back in the pits, and we'll see as Dick Berggren is standing by. Dick?
Yeah, Leedy's back in again, and that is a real surprise. Up and down pit road, most of the teams are measuring the tires they've taken off. By doing that, they can tell whether they're right or not. Gary Lee, what's going on near you?
Well, actually, I'm standing out here in the Leedy pit as well. They changed the left side tires the first time in. They elected not to go all 4 tires that time. They wanted to go out, make 1 lap, and come back in. But he couldn't be caught, if you will, with his pants down because they gave him the 1 lap to go sign. He can be caught in the pit area as they drop the green flag. The crew finishes the work. The car is dropped down, and Leedy is underway.
And he's going to catch up with the field before the green comes out because the pace car is in turn number 3. And we'll be pulling into the pit area now and the restart of this race on lap number 114. And here comes the pace car as Hedgecock begins to accelerate and the green comes out. The race is resumed. Junior Miller is in second position, car number 69, as that 46 car of Billy Middleton is a lap machine.
Only 36 laps for these guys to make their way back to the front. As trouble on the backstretch. Leedy's car spins and is tagged over on the backstretch.
Leedy's car is on the inside of the racetrack, and the car moving right now is the number 6 machine of Thomas Needham. There goes Leedy. He gets straightened out, but Jan's attempt to get a good start, a restart, and to move up through the field is pretty much negated as he spins on the backstretch. So yellow number 3 comes out.
Well, Jan Leedy needed a yellow flag, but didn't need for it to be him. He needed to get back to the front, but getting tangled up with one of the lap cars, Thomas Needham, as they were coming out of turn 2. Apparently, Needham and Leedy both got sideways. Leedy tried to make a move to the inside. His car spun, ended up backwards against the inside retaining wall. He has some sheet metal damage, but that appears to be all, as this car is still running on the speedway. There's Hedgecock, the leader.
Hedgecock has been racing for 17 years, his age 32. And now the 2 abreast formation begins to form once again, with those on the lead lap to the outside and the slower lapped cars to the inside.
Here's Satch Worley back down pit road. Now, Worley is not a lap car, but he has made 2 pit stops already. In that previous caution, they changed the left rear and the right front. He locks the brakes down. Again, they get the 1 lap to go signal, and Satch Worley will change the right rear tire. And Hayes Jewelers crew working on that car.
Jan Leedy also in for some service, as they're working on the front end of that race car. Perhaps a little bit of damage done when he spun off the racetrack and got down into the infield on the backstretch. Also in, number 75, Robert Jeffries, for some service, is Jay Hedgecock. He's awaiting the restart of this race once again. Now, Junior Miller is the 3rd car there in line, so he may have a shot at Hedgecock. Miller has been running very well in this race, and if it weren't for some slower traffic, he would be in a position to challenge. And now, with just 1 car separating himself and the leader, Hedgecock, he may make a run at Hedgecock. Some bumping going on as the 46 machine of Middleton bumps the lead car of Hedgecock coming off of turn number 4, but the green comes out and we are back to competition. We're on lap number 118. So only about 31 more laps to go as this will make number 119.
Junior Miller tags Billy Middleton, and Middleton gets a little bit out of shape and swirly. Middleton is a lap car. Junior Miller now trying to make a move on the inside in turn 1, but Middleton hanging tough. Now, he's a lap car, but Miller's idea is to get up and catch Hedgecock, the leader.
And now there is Junior Miller passing the 46 car of Middleton. So now clean sailing between Junior Miller and the leader, Jay Hedgecock. Here's a look once again at the little nudge that Miller gave the 46 car of Middleton. Just a friendly tap to let him know he was there and needed around him.
Sort of a howdy out of turn 4. There's Doug Hevron trying to work his way, and Frank Fleming back to the pack. Hevron now moving beneath Bobby Lofton, as Frank Fleming is, of course, the car number 40. Those cars back in heavy lap traffic trying to make their way to the front and laps the line down.
And Fleming is in 3rd, Doug Hevron in 4th, and they've got very little time to move through this slower traffic before we have the end of this race. Fleming trying to maneuver around one of the slower cars as Doug Hevron tries to maneuver around Fleming, looking to the inside, can't make the pass. That is for 3rd position once again.
We'll go around the slower car of Don Smith there coming out of turn 4. And they are reeling in the leaders. Fresh tires makes a big difference on these cars. As light as they are, you really get a little bit of an extra jump. And Fleming and Hevron really climbing back toward the front.
They have a couple of cars to deal with, slower cars, before they can catch up with Junior Miller, who's running in 2nd position. Now Hevron is really on the back bumper of that 40 machine, going at it nose to tail out there. This will make lap number 125, so only 25 more circuits to go, and the Lowe's 150 will be in the books.
We mentioned the qualifying record here at North Wilkesboro is 125.5 miles per hour. Frank Fleming is the fellow who set that record 2 years ago. That was before the 390 carburetors came into being, when they had unlimited carburation and the big block engines. But he certainly has driven this track awfully well. It's his favorite racetrack, he said. He's never won here, but he likes to run, and he always runs well. He's led a lot of laps. Only his 3rd year in modified competition. Driver came from the dirt track ranks. Used to run the half-mile and quarter-mile dirt tracks around Madison, North Carolina. 311 Speedway. Tracks out in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But this year's been an excellent one for Frank Fleming. 6 wins, 4 at Bowman Gray. One at North Wilkesboro here a couple of weeks ago. He said he had one here earlier 2 weeks ago. And one at Anderson, South Carolina. A new asphalt track this year. Has run the modified cars a couple of times.
Now they're in heavy traffic once again, disposing of the 19 car of Randy Morrison. Down the front stretch, the next car that they will try to get around is the 46 car of Billy Middleton. So a great battle for 3rd position here as Jay Hedgecock continues to hold the lead. Miller is running in 2nd position. Staying to the outside of the racetrack, passing the 53 of Melvin Swisher. And now both Frank Fleming and Doug Heverin have caught Junior Miller in 2nd position. There's Miller's car just coming off the 4th corner. So that's how close we have it for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th position in the late stages of the Lowe's 150. Heverin bumping Frank Fleming in turn number 2. This is going to be a great battle to the finish. Hedgecock appears to be well in command of this race, but with 20 laps to go, anyone could finish 2nd and 3rd. Look how close they are down the straightaway. Fleming looking to the inside of Junior Miller.
Doug Heverin gives Frank Fleming a little bit of a tap. Says, come on, Frank, we don't have time to be finessing here. Go underneath him. Let's go. We got to catch Hedgecock. And Junior Miller now trying to hang on to that 2nd spot.
Hedgecock with about a 2.5 second lead, passing the number 99 car of Johnny Johnson down the straightaway. And look who has also caught Doug Heverin. That's Satch Worley in 07. So now we have 4 cars battling for this 3rd position. We'll make that 2nd position. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Those 4 cars all together. Junior Miller, Frank Fleming, Doug Heverin, and Satch Worley. As now Satch sneaks a peek, but thinks better of it. Lap car in front. Frank Fleming doing a fine job of holding off Doug Heverin and Satch Worley. And Junior Miller has his hands full in holding off Frank Fleming. So some great competition. There is the leader, Jay Hedgecock, with about a 2.5 second lead. And now a quick fact. Quick facts are brought to you by New Quaker State with QSX. Keeps your engine cleaner to last longer.
The suspension system in a modified is very different from that in a Winston Cup car. Here in the modified, the coil spring actually surrounds the shock absorber. It's called a coil-over system. Weight adjustments on each individual wheel can be manipulated by turning this nut up and down, which puts a differing amount of pressure on the coil spring. In the Winston Cup car, the coil spring is also located in approximately the same position, but see, the shock absorber is located outside the coil spring. The adjustment is made by turning this screw up and down. In the back end of the modified, we've got a torsion bar system in many of the cars, and the adjustment is made right here on this torsion stop. The Winston Cup car uses coil springs again, and the adjuster is here. And again, on the Winston Cup car, the coil spring and the shock absorber are located in different positions.
Caution is out on the speedway once again. The number 6 car of Thomas Needham blew something going down the main straightaway. He's put down some oil in the 1st and 2nd corners. He's made his way into the pit area, however. But our 4th caution period of the afternoon comes out on lap number 138. So now, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th will be bunched right together as we go back to racing in just a few moments. Stay with us.
The car gets airborne, and there's Hedgecock's car contacting the wall. Fleming keeps the car righted as he spins sideways. There's Heverin just missing the rear of the Frank Fleming car. Junior Miller and the rest of the pack come piling through.
Jay Hedgecock led 92 laps before his race ends against the 3rd turn concrete. So the leader now is Doug Heverin with just a few more laps to go. Junior Miller stopped, not necessarily because of the severity of the accident, but we want to get the track cleaned up so we can have a few laps of green to go. We've completed 145 laps. Make that 145. So the cars are stopped on the backstretch so that the oil can be dried up from the backstretch, and we can get Jay Hedgecock's car off the racetrack. Here's the incident once again.
Watch Fleming's car. The right rear tires come together, right rear and left rear of Hedgecock's. Fleming's car will jerk up into the air there. He will then go across the left front of Hedgecock's car. Hedgecock's car slides up the Pontiac, into the wall, and Fleming keeps his car spinning sideways. There's Hevron, the red car, just at the bottom right of your screen, as he will muscle around the rear. And there's Doug Hevron, the young man who has a chance of winning now. Just 3 laps possibly of green flag competition if they can get back to green, which they're trying to do as they clean the track. The cars are stopped over in the backstretch just behind the safety car there in turn 3.
Hevron was the pole sitter of this race and led the early laps, and now, as Jerry indicated, is in a position to win. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock live Eastern time, the Holly Farms 400 Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway right here. And as we indicated, the final short track appearance of the Winston Cup cars, it should be exciting. Again, the top 10 qualifiers are Bill Elliott, Darrell Waltrip, Benny Parsons, Terry Labonte, Alan Kulwicki, Ken Schrader, Mike Waltrip. 8th fastest qualifier was Bobby Allison. 9th, Morgan Shepherd, and Dale Earnhardt will start back in the 5th row in 10th position. There you get an idea of how cool it is here this afternoon. The spectators that have come out here this afternoon are bundled up in very heavy coats and jackets and even blankets, trying to keep warm. Temperature about 55 degrees and winds right around 20 miles an hour. So once again, the race is stopped to get Jay Hedgecock's car off the racetrack. We've got 5 more laps to go, and we'll be right back for it. Back at North Wilkesboro, some race fans here from Denver, Colorado, it appears. And you can keep up with all the latest in the world of motorsports, including the Lowe's 150 and tomorrow's Holly Farms 400 Winston Cup race this Thursday night on Speed Week, as we bring you the results and the news from the world of motorsports every Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Time here on ESPN. Speed Week. So they're still working in turn number 3, trying to get Hedgecock's car off the racetrack, and it's been a very lengthy process. They've got a wrecker at the front of the car and one at the rear, and now they begin to move down off the racetrack as Doug Hevron sits in the number 1 machine and gets set for the restart. There is Hedgecock's car. They're still not moving very quickly, and besides that, there are track crews on the back stretch and on the front stretch putting down some oil dry, trying to get the track back in racing condition.
We mentioned at the top of the show, Doug Hevron came here because he wanted to run in front of the Winston Cup car owners and stars. He wants to get a Winston Cup ride. Maybe a win today will do it for him. Let's go to the pit road and Dick Berggren. Dick?
Well, I'm here with Junior Miller's crew chief, Jimmy Brown. Jimmy, you guys got your work cut out for you. Not much time to go. Can you pass Hevron? Can you win it?
I don't know. Just going to have to hold it off and see what happens.
He's talking to his driver right now. By the way, just a moment ago, these guys admitted that they'd made no tire changes. They said, we're not very good at that, so we figured we'd just let him go all the way. Up pit road, Gary Lee has got Jay Hedgecock. Gary?
What a difference a day make. What a difference a lap can make. What happened out there?
Well, the caution flag came out with about 10 laps to go, and I knew it was going to be close to hold them off. And our car had been hooked up on the bottom all day long, and I knew if I stayed on the bottom, it wasn't going to get by me. And we got down the back straightaway there, and we got into 3, and they said that the 53 car had blown an oil line off. And he was underneath me just a little bit, and evidently he slipped in the oil and got in the left rear and turned me around.
At that point, you became a spectator or just a passenger?
Yeah, you just kind of lock the brakes up and hold on and hope you don't hit the wall too hard.
And what'd you say to yourself at that moment, knowing you really had the thing won had it not been for that?
Well, I hate it because with 20 laps to go, when the first caution flag came out, I had a straightaway and we were just riding in, and I knew if it didn't have any caution flags, I would be able to win the thing easily, but it just didn't happen that way.
All right, let's go back topside and get ready for the restart.
Okay, so very philosophical Jay Hedgecock as he now watches the finish of this race from the pit area. And once again, coming up in just a few moments, we complete 5 more laps of this race, and the field is moving. The Senior PGA Tour in Clemens, North Carolina, the Vantage Championship. That'll be in just a few moments live here on ESPN. Let's go back to Dick in the pit area.
On with a guy who's not racing today. He's watching this one, but he's going to be here tomorrow. What kind of a show should we have tomorrow, Morgan Shepherd?
Well, you know, we've seen a lot of excitement here in this modified race today, and I look for a lot of excitement tomorrow. And the excitement's going to be when we pull that Quaker State Buick in the winner's circle tomorrow.
And he really wants to do it. There's a bunch of guys like Morgan Shepherd who have not yet won in 1987 who are very, very hungry. Will be a great race tomorrow for sure. Bob?
Yeah, really will. There are about 5 or so drivers that you expect to see win a race in Winston Cup competition that have not won so far this year, and I think we very easily could see a new winner next year, or tomorrow rather.
I think so. I think Harry Gant needs to win really bad. Can you believe Junior Johnson and Terry Labonte haven't won? If someone would have bet me that it would be October and they had not won a race for this season, I would have bet the farm and probably be living with you, Bob. but they haven't, so maybe tomorrow will be their day.
And Neil Bonnet is another one who would like to win a race in 1987. He'll be carrying our in-car camera tomorrow. Again, it's at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and we urge you to be with us. Perhaps the quality of the NFL tomorrow not quite what it normally would be on a Sunday afternoon, so this is going to be the place to be, because you're going to see all the best from the Winston Cup Series in competition here at North Wilkesboro. We should be getting a green flag this time around, as Doug Heverin and Junior Miller and the number 45 car Johnny Bryant will be going for it very hot and heavy. Here comes Heverin out of corner number 4, standing on the accelerator. Green flag comes back. Here we go.
Only 3 laps to go. They hit the turn 1, Bob. And Doug Heverin, 26 years old, from Liverpool, New York, trying to hold off Junior Miller. And hold him off he does. He has gone like a bullet down the backstretch and has opened the lead to some 8 car lengths in turn 4.
Heverin got off to a very fine restart. We have 2 more laps to go, I believe, before this one is history. And Doug Heverin is indeed holding everybody else off as the Johnny Bryant machine now battles with Junior Miller. Bryant in the 45, and they spin out, or at least Junior Miller does, to the inside of the racetrack. The white flag comes out, and I don't know whether we're going to have a yellow or not. I think Junior Miller's car is off of the speedway and in no danger to the other driver, so this is the final lap, and Doug Heverin is going to win it. Here he comes out of corner number 4. Doug Heverin from Liverpool, New York, wins the Lowe's 150. In second place is going to be Johnny Bryant in car number 45. Doug Heverin has won the Lowe's 150, but it was not easy, that is for sure. He looked to have the race well in command at the beginning, then lost the lead, fell back to 3rd, and because of some circumstances involving Frank Fleming and Jay Hedgecock, he got the lead and holds everybody off for the checkered flag.
Tough break for 2 competitors. Hedgecock, of course, getting involved in that crash. And Junior Miller, the best run he's ever had here at Wilkesboro. His previous best finish would have been a 5th. He could have finished 2nd, but he came into contact with Johnny Bryant, and he could not get the car refired and out of the soft grass in turn 3.
So there are your unofficial results. It's Heverin the winner. Johnny Bryant finishes 2nd in car number 45. Jan Leedy in number 25 finishes 3rd, followed by Satch Worley and Frank Fleming. So a lot of excitement once again here at the Lowe's 150 on ESPN. It has been brought to you by the Quaker State Motor Oil Company. New Quaker State with QSX keeps your engine cleaner to last longer. And by tomorrow afternoon for the Holly Farms 400. Stay tuned now for the Seniors Golf Tour coming up next, live here on ESPN. For now, this is Bob Jenkins. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.